Right, just let me fix the screen here. I have forgotten to toggle the screen share. Okay, and let me test my volume as well. The screen share. Okay, and let me test my volume as well. Great. So let's get this started. So next week, right? My levels for Nasdaq, it's basically all-time highs, buy side liquidity, right? Right now we're in a monthly chart. Okay, reached down into this down close candle here, found some support, and then right now I think it's good to go. Right, on the weekly chart, right, you can see that it has closed in the upper quadrant of this fair value gap high. Okay, and basically above the midpoint of this weekly fair value gap. So I think even if we are going to retrace next week, I'm basically only looking at the consequent encroachment, and I want to see that support to go to price higher. And maybe first low hanging fruit would be the consequent encroachment of this wick here, and then eventually the buy stops right above these two swing highs. Okay, so this is my weekly bias and forecast for NQ next week. Okay, and at the same time we have lots of red folder news next week. Okay, we have CPI, we have FOMC interest rates announcements, we have PMIs, and I think this are all going to send price. I mean, I would say lots of volatility, right? Therefore, I see the price reaching into all-time highs next week. Okay, so if you take a look at the daily levels here, right around the consequent encroachment of the weekly fair value gap, we do have the daily volume imbalance. Okay, this is due to the contract switching. Okay, so right now we are currently in the March contract of 2024 on within this continuous contract chart. Okay, so because NQ, um, if you take a look at NQH 2024, on the weekly, sorry, on the daily, you don't really see anything except for this high here. Okay, and this is the all-time high level for that particular contract itself. So the high comes in right about 16406. 16406 would be right around this area here, and that would basically be around this daily BPR. Okay, so this level here, it's important as well, right? So you could use that as your target. Okay, so why is it important? It has used this fair value gap to send the price lower to take out sell stops multiple times. So this is a significant level, and I wouldn't ignore it. Okay, I would have this annotated in my other charts with a different time frame, but for the sake of simplicity and minimalism, I'm gonna keep it this way in this chart right here. Okay, so because this chart, it's what I use for my entries. I mean, basically trading. So try not to have too many things cluttered on this chart. Okay. So notable levels are the few that I've mentioned, and bias it's towards the upside. Okay. I've mentioned before that because we are in Q4. Okay, let me just show you. All right, I've annotated this I think a few weeks ago. Okay, because we are in closing in to the end of Q4 of the current year, 2023, I'm expecting explosive price action above the buy stops. Okay, because there is a time limit for the price to reach this levels here. All right, and that will be by the end of this quarter itself, which should be before 2024. Okay, that's the timer. Right, and that is for NQ, basically higher prices. For DXY, let's take a look. Okay, on the monthly DXY, it's right down here, and I do see DXY reaching up for this BPR. Okay, on the monthly charts, right, and of course right here on a weekly, if this is able to support the price to go lower, then below this low here I would seek this inefficiency, and maybe probably even this sell stops. Okay, because heading into the month of December, DXY seasonal tendency wise, it's going to be weak. Okay, but because we are right within this order block, and at the same time we are in OTE range. Okay, so this wick down here basically tagged the OTE 62% if I'm not wrong, so you can double check on that, right? And for me, for my personal experience with forex, even though I do not trade them, I observe them sometimes, right? So usually they like to go for OTE entries. So right here, it could be OTE entries, okay? But I think, in my opinion, once this swing low is taken out, then we're going to go lower due to the fact that we already have taken out sell stops down here. So if this is not a turtle soup, okay, or if it proves itself not to be a turtle soup, then I think we're gonna start to see bearish order flow. All right. So this is what I see for DXY. Okay, let's move on to HSI. Right, so for HSI, right here, even though the week closed like this, okay, I've observed that um, you would rather wait for the Monday's opening to confirm this candle here, okay, because it might change. I'm not too sure how it works on the Hong Kong exchange. I mean, like the closing prices and stuff like that. How do they mark the end of the week? But sometimes you see difference, like a huge difference in terms of candlesticks. I mean, opening price and closing price. But sometimes it's just like that. So I'll just have to wait for Monday's open to verify if the candle did close below this fair value gap right down here. Okay, and if so, we are going to see lower prices. Okay, and at the same time, if it closes below, like, I think the mean threshold right here, it's 410, 16410 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 16410. So on a monthly basis, or even on a weekly, if it closes below here, it shows weakness. Okay, so right now I'll just have to wait for the confirmation of the closing price for this week itself, and we shall see if it plays out to the end, right? Ultimately, my bias it's down here, 13683. Okay, I've mentioned this many months back, right? Ever since we have this CB here down here. Okay, so that's my bias or HSI, continued downside, and we only have like 2 more weeks left, or should I say 3 more weeks if you include next week itself. So 3 more weeks. Best case scenario, the low resistance liquidity runs below this low here, right? If not, I think it's just going to be something like a TGIF closing back within this range here, which I'm not too keen to see. All right. For um, let's just take a look at is if there is any SMTs. Okay, for the indices. Where is it? Okay, 1 week, 1 month. All right. So right down here, Dow Jones, it's going to attack the all-time highs very soon. ES catching up. NQ second runner-up. Okay, so I'm interested to see if there's any SMTs formed above this highs here. Okay, whether is it on this high itself or above this high, and then we get a daily SMT that would be enough for strong retracements back down. Okay, so let's just see how this plays out. But all this scenario, I think it's going to be in 2024. Okay, ultimately, I'm still looking for all-time highs to be tagged for NQ. Okay, before anything else, right? And let's see if I have covered everything here. Okay, so this is the daily volume imbalance that I've marked on a different time frame. Okay, and best case scenario, I don't really want to see price trade back down into this area to take out the sell stops, but that's just my bias. We shall see Monday's opening price. Okay, and right here we do have the projections as well. Okay, projections, the daily BPR as I've mentioned before, and the buy side liquidities above, which is all-time highs, and then this is the current Fib projections that I have. So right now we are still right around this 2 to 2.5. Retracements are still possible if it wants to. Okay, and because we have lots of manipulation news next week, it might just give that manipulation down to this low here. But on daily basis, I don't really want to see a closure below the consequent encroachment of the weekly fair value gap. Okay, now let's take a look at BABA here. Okay, let's see where is it at. Right, so weekly closing price is below the mean threshold of the monthly bullish order block, so that is not a good sign, but it's only 1 cent, so it's not really that significant, right? I need to see a more convincing close. Okay, now I believe Baba is going to reach into this area here, but whether is if it is possible to be completed by this year, we shall see, but I would prefer that to happen. Okay, If it doesn't happen, then I would have a better framework, of course, for next year. Okay, so that's it for this weekly forecast here. So just to give you a recap, I'm bullish on NQ towards the all-time highs by the end of December, and the levels that I have annotated are the levels that I think that are significant. And I think that's about it for this weekly forecast. Right, if you're interested to know what's going to happen before the levels are taken, or what's going to happen throughout the week, then you can look forward to my project next year. Okay, I only outlined those roadmaps in the group itself. So for the weekly forecast, I'm just giving my general bias idea, just like how I gave last week, that my eyes is on 3 hour fair value gap right up here. Okay, so last week, for example, on Sunday, oh no, on a Saturday, right when price is right down here, I mentioned that I'm interested in this 3 hour fair value gap. Okay, and eventually it did reach up into this area. So in the group, I've mentioned that I'm expecting a stop hunt first before coming back up. Okay, and if you want to know that beforehand and how or why I was anticipating that, then um, maybe you should do your own homework to see if that is going to be helpful in your journey in finding profitability, or if you just want something extra. But I promise you, all the information has already been given by me, and I've learned this all for free. You don't have to join my channel or group or anything. You can get it all for free. You just have to put in the hard work. Okay, and that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and have a great weekend. Next week it's going to be my last trading week for the year, and I'm gonna resume in the second week of January, right? And at the same time, next week it's going to be like the forecast, the weekly forecast video for next week. It's going to be the last one for the entire year, and I'm gonna cover some pretty high time frame stuff, or the roadmap that I am predicting, that I am forecasting that's going to happen in 2024. So you don't want to miss that. And with this, I look forward to the next session, and have a great week ahead. Signing out right now.